Let's get to it. And boy, do we have a lot to get to. Here's the brief. News from the world over this week. As Hillary Clinton appears to be on her way to the Democratic nomination, the Justice Department has granted immunity to a former State Department staffer who worked on Hillary Clinton's private email server. According to a senior law enforcement official, the FBI has secured the cooperation of Brian Pagliano, who worked on Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign before setting up the server in her New York home in 2009. The immunity was granted as part of a criminal investigation into the possible mishandling of classified information. To date, there is no indication that prosecutors have convened a grand jury in the email investigation. And the Supreme Court appears sharply divided over Texas abortion clinic regulations in its biggest abortion case in nearly a quarter century. The court's liberals and conservatives signaled little common ground during the nearly 90 minutes of oral arguments on Wednesday. The Texas law requires doctors who perform abortions to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals, and clinics must meet hospital-like standards for outpatient surgery. The clinics say the real purpose of the regulations is to reduce access to abortion. Supporters claim the regs are needed to protect the health of women. Justice Anthony Kennedy holds the key to whether the court splits 4-4. That result could leave the regulations stand, but would not settle the issue nationally. If Kennedy were to side with his 4 more liberal colleagues, the regulations would be struck down. And a partial ceasefire in Syria has, for the most part, held this week. Humanitarian aid has been quickly dispersed to areas in desperate need. Russia claims to have delivered more than 500 tons of food since it began airstrikes in support of Syria's government last September. The truce does not include areas where the Islamic State's group or al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria are present. The next round of peace talks would resume in Geneva on March 9th. And in a message delivered to thousands of faithful at his weekly general audience, the Pope told some church benefactors that the church doesn't want your blood money if it comes from exploiting workers. The Pope went on to say that the path of true conversion is not the one of ritual sacrifices, but rather of justice. Pope Francis urges wealthy individuals who exploit their workers, quote, "Please take back your checks and burn them. The people of God and the church don't need dirty money. They need hearts that are open to the mercy of God," end quote. And for the first time since the Synod of the Family, the Vatican's top doctrinal official has affirmed the Church's long-standing teaching on communion for divorced and remarried Catholics. Namely, those who are remarried without an annulment cannot approach the sacrament. In multiple interviews, Cardinal Gerhard Müller, the prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, reminded the faithful that only chaste divorcees may receive the Eucharist. He stressed that the indissolubility of the marital bond is a dogma and that there cannot be a second marriage. The comments appear to put to rest any speculation that Pope Francis would or could make any changes to the hotly debated topic at last year's Synod. The Holy Father is expected to deliver his final thoughts on the Synod on March 19th. Stay tuned for that. Also at the Vatican, Cardinal George Pell, Pope Francis's top financial advisor, testified for the 4th and final day before an Australian government task force investigating clerical sex abuse. Connected by video link from Rome, the government panel accused Pell of not doing more to stop the abuse of a minor by a priest back in the 1970s. At one point, Cardinal Pell was asked why, back in the 1970s, when he was a junior priest, did he fail to stop alleged abuse by a Christian brother teacher when a student told him that the teacher was misbehaving with classmates. Cardinal Pell rejected the assertion, claiming that he couldn't have stopped the abuse from continuing.
Overstatement. I did take the opportunity to ascertain the reliability of the rumors. I was told there was something in them and that it was being dealt with.
Pell also said that the Catholic Church has made enormous mistakes in dealing with the sex abuse scandal, and he wasn't going to, quote, defend the indefensible. And the president at Mount St. Mary's University, America's second oldest Catholic school, located just outside of Baltimore, resigned Monday after he made controversial statements about struggling freshman students. He also was accused of retaliatory firings. Back in January, the student newspaper first reported that first-year president Simon Newman told faculty and staff that to improve the college's ratings, struggling freshmen should be removed. He said, quote, "This is hard for you because you think of the students as cuddly bunnies, but you can't. You just have to drown the bunnies." He added, "Put a Glock to their heads." After the article was published, Newman fired the faculty advisor to the student paper, as well as a professor who opposed his plan. The faculty voted 87-3 to have the president removed. Well, at least one freshman was put out of his misery. Now for a little more good news. On March 8th, my new middle grade adventure series, Will Wilder, The Relic of Perilous Falls, crashes into bookstores everywhere. Now gather the kids. Here's a look at the brand new trailer. Watch this.
He alone can see them, the dark things we ignore. 12-year-old Will Wilder sought a relic with rare powers. Now, he has awoken an ancient evil, and the only way to save the town of Perilous Falls is to embrace his destiny before it's too late. So long as he isn't grounded at the time. Chip Flaherty calls it a pulse-pounding page-turner. Think Indiana Jones meets Percy Jackson. Dean Koontz raves, great fun and great frights. The search for the next epic must-read adventure series is over. Will Wilder, The Relic of Perilous Falls by Raymond Arroyo. Premiering March 8th from Random House Kids.
The first book of the Will Wilder series hits bookstores March 8th. But you can order the hardcover or the audiobook now at the EWTN Religious Catalog, Books A Million, Amazon, wherever books are sold. And if you pre-order and send me your contact info at Raymond@RaymondArroyo.com, I'll send you a limited edition autographed bookmark. So get out there. And I'm about to hit the road for the Will Wilder book tour, signing books, talking to kids, and I hope you'll come see me. The kickoff event is on March 8th in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Barnes & Noble on the Midtown Parkway at 7 p.m. Then Saturday, March 12th, it's on to Corpus Christi. I'll be at Half Price Books on South Padre Island Drive at 1 p.m. Then on Sunday, March 13th, I'm going home to New Orleans for a visit to Octavia Books uptown at 1 p.m. Then it's on to Milwaukee, Orlando, Florida, Cleveland, Ohio, Athens, Georgia, many more. I'm so excited to see you all and to share Will's saga with you. Go to RaymondArroyo.com. All the tour dates and times are there. And get ready for one wilder adventure.